Zed. We're part of the Amish religion. We follow the Amish faith, and we don't believe in kids going to school past 8th grade, so Zed's gonna have to come with me.
Well, it's Wisconsin law that he has to go to school until he's 16.
I know, but with our Amish faith, he's gonna have to come with me. Come on, Zed.
Zed has to come to school past the 8th grade according to Wisconsin state law.
But according to our Amish religion, Zed doesn't have to come to school past 8th grade.
Well, I declare that Zed does not have to go to school past 8th grade. He has the right to exercise his faith into the first grade.
So here I'm going to be discussing the Wisconsin versus Yoder case. So during this case, Jonas Yoder and Wallace Miller, both members of the old Amish religion, and Adam Utsi, a member of the conservative Amish Mennonite Church, were prosecuted under a Wisconsin law that required all children to attend public schools until the age of 16. The three parents refused to send their children to such schools after 8th grade, arguing that high school attendance was contrary to their religious beliefs. The court held that individuals' interests in free exercise of religion under the First Amendment outweighed the state's interests in compelling school attendance beyond 8th grade.
Wisconsin versus Yoder established the Free Exercise Clause. This law says that you have the right to exercise any religion, and Congress cannot make a law that prohibits this. This is significant because in a nation where people of many faiths live side by side, the First Amendment's Free Exercise Clause protects individuals from government interference in the practice of their faith. The government cannot target laws at specific religion practices or place undue burdens on its citizens' worship. Okay, class, it's time to pray.
I don't want to pray. I'm Jewish.
You have to. It's part of the school policy.
You don't have the right to establish a school religion.
Engel versus Vital is a 1962 court case where the New York State Board of Regents authorized a short voluntary prayer for recitation of the state of school each day. A group of organizations joined forces in challenging the prayer, claiming that it violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. The New York Court of Appeals rejected their arguments. The court said that the state cannot hold prayers in public school even if participation is not required of them, and the prayer is not tied to a specific religion.
Engel versus Vitale established the Establishment Clause. This is a law that the First Amendment says that there's no established religion of the United States. This is significant because it prohibits the government from making any law that establishes an official religion. It also prohibits government actions that favor one religion from over another.
So Zed, can you think of any examples of the Establishment Clause being used in your community?
Yes, I can. The question of whether public appropriations to religious groups in order for those groups to perform public functions is a complex one. This is a strong argument to be made that it's simply wrong and unconstitutional for public dollars to flow to sectarian institutions for any purpose given. The Establishment Clause of the First Amendment is ongoing with a group called the Cross Trail Outfitters, which is a religious group that promotes in wellness and physical activity for youth 7 to 20 years old.
So can you think of any examples of the Establishment Clause being violated in your school or maybe your community?
It has not been violated in our school, but there's a conflict with it in the community. There has been a conflict and arguments about the First Amendment not serving as a complete bar to appropriations to religious groups to serve public purposes. So as long as the public money is not directed toward religious uses.
Thank you.
What is the state of the Establishment Clause where you live?
The state's 1776 Constitution included provisions with both the free exercise of religious worship and a prohibition of establishment of a state church. The current version of North Carolina's state constitution guarantees that all persons have a natural and inalienable right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own conscience, and no human authority shall encase whatever control or interfere with the rights of this conscience.
CMS has an interfaith council advisory, so it's leaders from all sorts of different religions, and then they have a calendar committee that makes up of parents, students, principals, community members, and they decide the calendars and the certain dates. We got to be in school 180 days, and if you take off all those days, and you kind of go with the majority. So those days, certain days we may not have here, but if you're in a different part of the country where there's a lot more higher percentage of Jewish or Muslim or wherever it is, those school calendars may look very different. So it's kind of looking at, the mass of the impact of the malice and those different things. Yes?
Speaking of majority and minority, so you allow like the Christian Athletes Club after school. What would you do if like a Muslim?
Safe in those different areas. Yes?
Have you ever received any complaints about religion at Huff?
In which way?
Like, for example, like the spirit tree that you guys put up in the office. Like, has anyone ever complained about?
So, we actually died this year, I mean, it was fake anyhow, but it was moldy and rotten, and so we didn't even put it up this year. No, that would be, it's very careful, you said it was a spirit tree, so that we do not have one religion over the other. This year, we just did poinsettias, which are just holiday, just the season. The biggest issues I've had are student comments, some pretty horrible, horrific, anti-Semitic, and some other comments that we've had to address.
So if students like wanted to put up like other religious symbols like a menorah, would you allow that?
So we don't do any symbols. The tree is
Okay.
that was a spirit tree, not a Christmas tree, so we don't do any religious symbols.
Got it.
Yes?
So
Be safe in those different areas. Yes?
Have you ever received any complaints about religion at Huff?